YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you. Let me show you what we got going on today. Today we're going to keep it on the sweeter side of things. Today we're going to be making a candied pecan pie. Alright, let's get straight into it. In here I've got brown sugar, white sugar, salt, cinnamon. Get that into a bowl. And we're going to mix these fatted meats, right? I've done the banana puddings. I've done the bread puddings. Done ice cream before. Just looking for something different. This, for me, currently is going to be that something different. Alright, so that's mixed. We're going to set this to the side. Into this bowl, we have 3 egg yolks. I'm sorry, egg whites. Sorry. We're going to go in with a splash of water. Also going to go in with a touch of vanilla. A little less than a teaspoon. Now we're going to whisk this until I get some frothy action going. There we have it. Set this to the side. Now we have our pecans. This is about 2 pounds of pecans. Alright, I've got my 2 pounds of pecans. These are store-bought. Unfortunately, I don't think it's really pecan season right now, which is why I bought mine from the store. Get that over the pecans. We're going to give it a good mix. These, when done, I mean, you can eat these as a snack. These are actually delicious. One of my favorite things that I used to do when my grandmother raised me, and one of the things we used to do is always, there in Houston, we used to go to one of the many local farmers markets. And you can best believe you can smell these from 2 or 3 miles away. They get these on that fresh roaster with the brown sugar, the white sugar, the salt, the cinnamon. You can smell these from a few miles away. It smells absolutely delicious. Alright, so that's a good mix. You can see these can be bitter. However, that's not what we're going for today. And again, these are going to be the basis of my pecan pie. Here shortly, I'll go ahead and get my pecan pie crust ready. Other than that, stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and get these on a baking sheet, and I'll be back with you. Alright, here's what we're looking like. I've got two sheet pans here full of pecans. So now what I'm going to do to ensure that we got some additional texture, I'm going to go over these with my brown sugar. You really want these to coagulate on these pecans. However, because of the way these will be cooked afterwards, it's not necessary for them, probably for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then once these have dried off and this moisture is soaked up, they'll set out at room temperature so they can cool, and then we'll proceed on with making the rest of this pie. Stay tuned. Alright, let's get this pie crust together. Sugar. Doing it by hand, I can't find the attachments to my food processor. So, just showing you, this can also be done by hand. Takes a little bit longer, but I've got nothing but time today. So I'm actually pressing this butter into the flour and giving it a good mix. You're looking for a nice shaggy dough. We're going to use the water, cold water, to bring it together. Whenever I'm baking, I tend to have loads of butter that I just leave out at room temperature. Usually the majority of the recipes that I use call for actual room temperature butter. Just trying to get some of these bigger pieces down. If this was in a food processor, I'd be looking for these little butter granules to form into small balls. That's how I know when the dough is a bit ready to be kneaded by hand. Not a whole bunch of kneading needed to this. You want to knead this just until the dough comes together. It's looking pretty good. We got nice and shaggy. That's what you want. The purpose is to get the majority of the flour granules coated in that butter. This is how we have a nice buttery flaky crust. Looks like a lot of butter because it is. It's about a full cup of butter. This butter is cold. Doing it by hand. It's not frozen. You don't want it frozen. It tends to make things a little harder. However, if I was going inside of my food processor, then absolutely it would be as cold as I could handle it. Forming a nice shaggy dough. And we're going to use the water to bring it all together so I can make it into a dough ball. Issue with this is your hands are hot. You're going to start melting this butter before you can get a cohesive dough together. So that's the key not to do. There are some tips you can do to absolutely make this go easier. One would be use your food processor. However, I've done this before by hand. It's not too hard. Using this fork the same way we would use a bench scraper or a can't think of the name of that deal that presses the butter into the actual dough. It forms, get a pretty good workout. Stay tuned, I'll bring you guys back when I'm pulling this together. Here's our dough, guys. I just kneaded it until it came together. Didn't take too long. Actually, I like this method better than the using the food processor. However, the food processor makes this process a lot faster. I can tell you that. My forearms are burning. So we're gonna wrap this up. Let it set in the fridge for the next 20 minutes. Can you see that? Nice tight wrap. We're gonna take the ends, fold them over themselves. Ends over themselves. Now we have an actual dough, pie crust dough. There you have it. Stay tuned. All right, here's my dough. It has been chilling for the last 20 minutes. We're gonna get some flour down. Don't need much. Don't want to mess with it too much. Again, you can see bits and streams of that butter in there. One thing I don't like about this is when that butter starts melting, it's usually when we start getting some sticking. I'm gonna work it up off there, but we gotta get this down. Might go down with a little bit of flour, a little bit more flour. This is gonna absolutely work. I like the overhang. We are going to fold this dough in a half and then in a triangle like this. We're going to bring our platter here in. We're going to put the point in the center of the platter and then we're going to unfold this dough. Again, this is one of those areas where you want overhang. This is not about perfection, guys. You want that overhang because you're going to want something to crimp over the edges of this dish. Now we're going to adjust this without breaking it. Alright. Okay, like that. Now I want to absolutely press this into the mold. Worst thing you could do here is get pockets. That's the reason for me pressing here up against the mold. So what you want This is going to go back into my fridge for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Working those areas that I can see are not in the mold, or touching the mold. We're pressing into the mold, leaning those sides up, and then this is starting to warm up. I can feel that butter get a little movement in it, so we're going to go ahead and cover this back up. I'm going to leave my overhang like it is. We're going to get this plastic wrap, and we're going to cover this. Stay tuned. I like the way this is coming along. Stay tuned. Let's get this filling together. Going in with my eggs. That's 3 large eggs. Maple syrup. Salt. Butter. Brown sugar. Dark maple syrup. Vanilla mix. As our mixture. Stay tuned. Chop. Now I'm not looking for any real uniform texture. I want to have some little pieces and some big pieces. Let me show you what these rusted pecans look like. Got a lot of texture on them. Can you see that? Got a lot of texture. That sugar, or those sugars, have caramelized. Some of these got a little bit darker than others. However, they're not burnt. I like the depthness, the richness and flavor they're going to give to this pie. At this time, I also want to thank you guys who have been showing love and support. If you haven't done so at this time, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're doing big things over here. A little bit different from the normal what I do. You guys know I like to stick with those proteins. We're going to give these a chop. Again, not looking for any uniform. Some of these I'm going to keep whole. Pie to be uniform, right? I want those different textures. Different bites, if you will. Stay tuned. I'm gonna get this in my pie filling. I'll bring you guys back. Pie crust, check it out. I've docked the edges. I've crimped the edges as well. Looking pretty good. Still cool. Now we're going to fill. Got my pecans. I've also got some in reserve. These will be used for pictures and to snack on. These make an excellent snack. I'm gonna fill this. Again, these are my candied pecans. A little different than your basic pecan pie. Another thing I was going to try to do is smoke them. However, I didn't want to risk these things being too over smoked. So we're just going to leave them as is. I like some of those cut pieces in there. Not everything's going to be the same size, same texture. We're going to fill it up. Currently, I've got my oven preheating at 350. This will go in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. I'm going to keep a close eye on it because these candied pecans have sugar and stuff on them already, and I don't necessarily want them to get darker. If I see it getting darker, one of the things I'm going to do is probably place a piece of foil over the pie as long as my crust is actually set and in place. think we're gonna leave it like that. We're gonna get some rising out of this as well when I pour that liquid in here. We're gonna, I think the last time I made a pecan pie, I didn't make enough filling. So I had enough pecans, but I didn't have enough of this ganache. And you could tell the difference because the pie was a bit dry, crumbly. So let's see. Might have to make a bit more. I don't think so. I think we're gonna be good this time. Yep. So you'll see some of these pecans are going to actually float to the top. That might happen now. That might happen over the amount of cooking time that this is going to undergo. All right, let me get a spatula because I want to get all of that ganache out of there. There's no purpose in leaving it in the bowl. Nobody's going to be able to eat it. Leave it in the bowl. I can tell you what, already it smells delicious. You can smell those roasted pecans. You can smell them. I know when this all comes together, it's going to be quite delicious. Again, I'm looking for a different thing to do. A lot of stuff I do on my channel is barbecue base. You have to remember we also embrace in the sides as well. Can you see that? It's looking pretty good. I like where we're going. We've got absolutely enough ganache. I'm going to let this sit here and chill out for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to go into a preheated oven at 350 for the next 40 to 50 minutes. I'll be back to show you guys what I do to allow this to chill and how I know when this is done. I'll show you some indicators to let you know when your ganache is set. Stay tuned. Again, I appreciate all the support, guys. Doing something a little bit different this week. Thanks for the support. Alright, here's what the final product is looking like. There you can see those candied pecans that I've done. I'm going to let this sit out. I literally just took it out again. It was 350. This went 40 minutes. The center of this pie is still jiggly. That's how you know it's set. And then I've got a nice crust on the outside. Those pecans look a little bit darker. I'm still fine with it, right? Some of these are a bit darker. However, they're not burnt. And you can see where that sugar that was coated on there has actually taken on some extra caramelization. Like where this is going, we're going to let it stay put here for the next 30 to 45 minutes. I might whip up some homemade whipped cream and we're going to get cut into this candied pecan pie. Alright, we are back with the finished product. Let's talk about what we did. I got up this morning. I bought me pretty much 2 pounds of pecans. They're already shucked from the store, right? I made up a concoction that consisted of egg whites, vanilla, splash of water. That was my binder so the seasoning mixture can stick to the actual pecans, right? In that seasoning mixture was brown sugar, white sugar, cinnamon. And we coated all the walnuts. I keep saying walnuts. We coated all the pecans because this is a candied pecan